Am I back? Am I back? Am I back? Hopefully I am. My god, that that power outage. It is the true seekers. Hi again, Merp. Look at that. Look at the little kobold. Oh my god. I love. Okay, am I missing something? I think I am. See, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep. Yeah. Welcome back. Yeah, I'm back. I need my pee pee poo poo mic to be here. You know, just in case someone redeemed pee pee poo poo mic. Yep, check. Yep, check worked. Haha. It's not car though. God, I was having so much fun too. I think they were doing something, some sort of a fixing downstairs, and then it just causes this short circuit. It's fine. It happens. Don't worry about it. All right, let me reopen Street Fighter Shit Fighter CX. How much was Street Fighter 5? 86 ringgit? Did it go down again? Hopefully not. Damn, 86 ringgit. Champion Edition plus Season 5 Premium Plus Bundle, 172. God, that is so expensive. I am not playing Street Fighter 5. I am playing Street Fighter 6. Haha. Yeah. Yeah. Cutie. Oh my god, Eevee. I mean, Eevee is also pretty cute. Come on. Also, yeah, I'm back. Haha. I'm ready to kick some butt with Salazzle. I'm so glad I'm so glad I was charging my phone and my phone is now in full battery. I was like, oh shit, get my phone, get my phone. Get the phone. They need to know what's going on. And I did.
Street Fighter 6.
Also, I'm really glad that my PC can handle this game. Although at first, when I was playing this game, when this game just came out, it had some performance issue on my PC. I already have everything in potato, as low as possible, and then the game still lags quite a bit. And then after a few weeks, I was like, why don't I try to disable VSync? And that worked. That absolutely worked. And now the game works perfectly fine. I mean, you guys might see some graphical glitches, but it's okay. It's normal. You know, graphical glitch like Manon doesn't have nails anymore. Chun-Li's face is jacked up. These two is like the most obvious one. When you have everything set to absolute potato, then yeah, you see all the janky shit. Nina Black? Nina Black? Let me go see if Mies is in the same place. I forgot which cabinet we were in. Oh no. Oh wait, I can stalk Mies, right? Not here. How do I stalk people? CFN. Alright. Where's Mies? Oh, you're from US. Is that US? That's a US flag, right? I am not good with flags. I'm so sorry. What did it say about me? Oh, Mies is in practice. Oh, that's what it means. And then Joe Doctor is in ranked. And then this guy is in Asia 16, Asia 13. Well, it's okay. I can go play some ranked. I mean, I always have ranked and casual both on. Oh my god, that feat though. Salazzle's feat's gonna have me acting up. I cannot believe it. It's the one and only Salazzle feat. Oh. What? Yeah, after disabling V-Sync, I'm in love. I'm in love with this game. I truly do. It's so good. Okay. Any pros in the chat? What do I do with enhanced Condor Spire? What do I do with that? I don't know. That move kills me. You don't know? It's okay. I'll figure out. Condor Spire. Shut the fuck up! This must be it. Sweep on sweep. Oh my god, help! Don't jump. Oh no, help! Don't jump. Don't jump. Don't jump. Don't jump me. Don't jump me. Don't jump at me, dude. Alright? I got this. Win getter. Whoa, what a whip punish. Feels good. DP, let's go. No fear. Ow. Oh! I challenged that, yeah. Wind scatter. Whoa, nice. Good grab. It's a grab, right? We don't take those. He's still frame 0, thank god. Wham! Okay, so Condor Spire is 2-hit, unless it's a Hacken EX version, I think? And then it will beat the DI, I believe anyway. Kick! Oh, that's the wrong version of kick. Him not. Combo City! Is this Lily's theme? Damn. Kick! Don't jump. I feel it, you wanna jump. Don't jump, I told you! The eye! Ow. Nice. Don't! Oh shit. Don't! That's punishable when you are not enhanced! Let's go, kick. The kick. Kick. Give me the drive gauge. Good parry. Oh, I broke the wrong way. Help. Win, get there. Condor Spire? You know you want it. Why are you becoming monkey? No! Nice. No! No! Công in! combo for days. Help. Good call. Oh, help! This is gonna snowball. Let's go, I win. Wrong button? No. No. Alright, that's not bad. Eat that neck, eat that lollipop. Good shit, nice lady, nice lady. You're gonna love when Salazzle eats lollipop with her neck, you know? Neck eating lollipop, mmm. Oh yeah, today is Sunday. And then oh, it's Monday tomorrow. I have to do art then. I need to finish the model that I started. Shoryuken. Oh wow, look at this. Whoa. Excuse me, game. But well, that's a first. The sea curse is going strong now? What do you mean? You cannot just say the game crashed unexpectedly. You guys have this issue before? Honestly, this is the first time I'm seeing this one. It's only the first time, so it's nothing much. I hope, this one. I don't want to cancel it. Do I want to cancel it? It's doing something. Is it doing something? Do I need to close out Street Fighter 6 or do I need to wait it out? This thing seems to be taking a while. Can I don't dare to just open up Task Manager and then just close everything. Well, not close everything. I just wanted to close up Street Fighter 6. Oh, there it is. Save location. Is it bad that you guys see this location? I think it is. Wait, no, it's just a location. Nah, nothing wrong with the game location, it's fine. Cross report. Do you want to look at it? Do we understand? Do I understand is the question. Okay, Steam apps, common, Street Fighter 6. I'm just kind of curious what they say about this. Crash report. Dot text. Damn, what am I looking at? What is this? I don't know. I don't know any of that. Oh, is it a mod that's making it crash? Because I did install the Bowser mod for E-Honda, but it didn't work. I didn't remove the file though. I mean, it could be. I have the file for a while. Why now did it crashed, right? Nah. Test it out, alright. Let me see if I can look at E-Honda. Joe, cute. I want the fete. Fete foreign. No, see, Honda is still Honda, it's not Bowser. But then Jury works. Okay, give me a second. Let me go check out the mod manager real quick. That's mine. It says natives. You know, I think I know what to do. Sorry, I'm gonna reopen the game real quick. There is a certain mod that needs a zip file instead of the contents inside. Alright, give me a second. I know what to do. This is a big brain time. Alright, give me a second. 356 mods, native image PNG, just delete this. Go to downloads, go here. No, we don't need to go here. We just copy this one. Go back, boom. Go back again, open up mod manager. Oh shit. That's mine again, sorry. There it is, look at that. So it's not natives, it's refresh mod list. Why is it 2 now? There, okay. Bowser Honda. Now this should work. Now this should work. Close this. And we can play Street Fighter 6. Something about the mod manager. I know this in Masanta Rise, because my Masanta Rise is also quite modded, and there are a few files that needs to be extracted. There are a few files that doesn't need to be extracted. They need the whole zip file sometimes. So it's just a matter of test. If it doesn't work, try the other one. Usually it works. Either one of them.
Street Fighter 6.
Alright, now we can look at Bowser Honda, I think. Hopefully. Maybe. I hope.
Fighting ground. Practice rating. Set for end.
Moment of truth. Let's go. Oh my god, it's Bowser.
Hello.
Oh. And D. Tristan. Sorry if I butcher your name. Welcome in. Thanks for the follow. It's Bowser and Salazzle. Tristan, alright. How do you play Honda? This is the jankiest shit I ever seen. This is all you need, right? When throw the Kimberly tutorials, I feel stronger. Actually, no, my down throw 1 is now just headbutt. That's a combo, right? What happened to Bowser's body structure? Don't worry about it. Oh, full screen? And I think it's safe too, right? It's -4, but the range, the pushback, you cannot punish this shit. The light version, -4, so always -4, I assume. Yeah, the pushback, you cannot punish this. It might as well be safe. Oh yeah, look at the kick. Oh yeah, look at the kick. Now this, Gonna perfect parry it. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. This. Oh, that's not a low. That's why Honda's minigame. Oh no. God damn it. Just Doskoi. Whoa, the jump is kind of weird. The neutral jump is weird. Damn. Bowser looking good. Wait, let me try something. I seen this before. I know how to play Honda, look at that! I've seen this before. Oh no, that's actually hard. Let's go damage! Also this one. That's +1. That's plus! Bitch, this is plus! Why? Do you see the drive gauge? If someone's at the corner, do this shit. DI will whip and then you can punish it after. This one? I don't think it's weak to DI. DI will whip. This one is weak to DI. This one I get. But this? Need to time it? Oh no. Goddamn E-Honda is a goddamn minigame. Doesn't work. Oh, that's a cool... Alright, I want to play Jury. Look, Jury is more fun. But it's Give, I just spin to win. Oh, the lariat is good, right? Mies, you wanna run back? You wanna run back? We can go to the same cabinet. Let's go. Alright. As long as I time it right. Ah. And Give is hype as fuck, not gonna lie. When Give does the whatever super that is that grabs airborne opponents, that is hype. That is 100% hype. I will pog out of my mind if I see that hit. that is like a hardest read ever. Let me see if we can go to like the same cabinet as before. It was this one. Alright, let me see if you can find me. I'm hiding. You cannot stream snipe me. It doesn't work that way. Oh no, Mies found me. Wow, Mies is actually cheating? I cannot believe it. Wow. You cannot. Oh, that is so scary. Oh god. Not the Bushin Ryu. Lick. I'll lick you. Bushin Ryu on the scene. Ooh. I'll do it again. Don't parry. Oh, oh, good shit. Oh, oh my god. What was that? DP. Another. I threw this round so hard. I fucking threw this round so hard. I did at least 5 DP. Oh my god. DP. Where's my DP? Ooh, nice. Good mix, good mix. Ooh, nice. Ooh, nice. Ooh. Beautiful combo. Grab. Hacking. Neutral jump. Kick. I should extend the combo a little bit. Kill? Doesn't kill? Sweep. Oh. What was that? Did you try to parry? Neutral jump. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Oh, what a parry. That was beautiful. Oh, help. DP. Okay, okay, I will not DP again. I am so sorry. Ah, oh god. I will not DP ever again. I learned my... I lied. You're gonna hit them with the audible mix-up. The audible mix-up. You funny how far my eyes roll. Oh my god, I love this game so much. I will not DP again. the audible mix-up. Oh. Oh, I can cancel that one. I don't think that's punishable. Oh, nice. Oh, good grab. Okay. That kick, I don't want. I think that's only jet punishable. No. Oh, god. Let's go. DP. Oh. Oh, god. DP. Oh, oh. DI. You gotta love when I see wake up DI. Oh, oh. Barry. Let's go. Only when you're having fun, you wake up DI. Oh my god. Oh, help! Ah, ooh. Not the wall. Ow, 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 ow. I'm just a lizard. Neutral. Neutral. No. The eye. I'll just take the easy damage. Kick. Oh. I don't want it. Ow. Ow. That is actually toxic. Oh. Oh god. Oh, my leg. Oh, what a combo. What a confirm, I mean. That is actually toxic, I'm so sorry. The buff is swerve. Oh yeah, Kimberly gets a buff. Right, you're right. Oh, whoa, what's that pushback? Eek. Oh, what did I do after that? Whoa. Oh, jump it. I regret my decisions. Doesn't work that way. Going in. Oh,
Judy.
I don't mind. Yeah, but I think that is good. I think if I do confirm into like the next dive kick section, like more hits, more damage, I can try that in ranked, like playing salty, you know. Oh. Reaction? Okay. Hard read? Oh. Eek! Oh. Eek! Punch. Ow. Ow. Neutral jump. Another one. Just one more. Okay. That works. Oh shit, that doesn't combo. Help. No, not like this. I thought that comboed. Not my chest. Oh, it's standing medium punches down medium. The combos. I forgot. Eek. Grab. Eek. Egg grab. Egg grab. Ow. Ow. Oh, good. Ah. Don't jump. Don't jump. No. Don't grab. Whoa, what a cancel. Come here. Although I never really realized, is Jury's dash super good? No. Get robbed. Oh. I tried. Oh. Oh, I think I can try something. Oh, ow. Oh, good grab. Don't jump. Don't jump. Oh, good grab. Wake up the eye. Oh, shit. Oh, Harry. Ah, that was supposed to be a super. Oh, oh, help. Kimchi, let's go. Oh, help. I deserve this. Oh, 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 oh. Neutral jump.
Judy, win.
Neutral jump. The neutral jump heavy kick is so good. Style you for TK. Haha. You didn't do it. The miss input. TK is hard. Oh. Whoa, that is Mega Midas. I know that feeling. Back. Oh. This corner's yours. Corner's yours. Don't jump. I'll kick you. Uh oh. No frames. Frameless. hell! Kick! Another. Okay, I will not DP. Lies. Gonna hit them with the ultimate mix-up again.
Round 2. Fight.
Oh. Oh, nice. Oh, DP. What'd I do? I think I can dash in with that. Let me try it. Eat. Style combo! Bam! No damage, I'll take it. Neutral jump. Gun with the full 3-bar combo that does no damage. I mean, it does damage, but I'm getting the style points. Oh. Oh. The eye. Oh. Wait, I think I can parry that one. Oh my, I almost died. Death flashes before my eyes. Oh. EP? Oh god, I jumped back. I'm sorry. Oh, what a chase. Whoa, what a read! Insane! Oh, ow, 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 ow. Help. The dance. The dance. 3 miss inputs. Are they supposed to be throws? Oh, you gotta love miss input sometimes. You have the weirdest interactions. I love it. Ooh. There's some miss input, but I'll take it. No, all skill. I call skill. Ow, ow, ow. No. Oh! I didn't. Oh, I thought that was gonna be a biggest read. Not like this. DP. Oh. Ooh, one anti-air. Help. I don't want to get snowballed. Let's go! Neutral jump. Honestly, in this game, I'm most afraid of the snowball effect when people are at the wall. It's like the most scariest thing ever. Help! Ooh, nice combo. Don't. Corner's yours, I don't want it. DI. Let me hit you with full combo. Whoa! I got robbed. Now I'm robbing it back. I don't know how I'm doing this one. That's cool, you know. Oh! Ow, ow, ow! I didn't punish it. Not like this, no! Good confirm, good confirm. No, you got the buff! Good shit, good shit. I did 3 or 2 perfect parries though. That feels good. Come here. Here. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, it is very punishable, okay. Neutral jump, another one. Nasty. Neutral jump. Where's my level 3? Actually, it's here. Actually, it's here. Intended skill. Skill. Ooh, that's plus, okay. No! Oh, that was close. Ow. Help, snowball. Oh, what a... Keek. Ooh. Ooh, come here. I have 1 bar. Ow. No, my leg. Oh! Oh! I'm alive. I'm... Oh! What an overhead. Good shit. There's so many trades towards the end. God, this is fun as hell. Finally, no misinput tattoo. Hell yeah. We learn it. We play it. We gain it. Oh. The DI. Oh wow, what a punish. Oh, nice. Peek. Oh. Whoa, what a tatsu. I know that feeling. Give me that drive gauge. Yeah. Oh. Eek. Hey, DP? Oh my god, nice. Oh, what a confirm. One. Just another one. Uh-oh. Oh, what a grab. Good shit. I don't want... Jumping away. Yo. No. Corner's yours. Corner's yours. Corner's yours. The eye. Oh. Ooh, what a combo. Ooh, what a combo. Beautiful. Oh. I don't know what to punish. I did level 3 high grade 1. Oh. DP. The DP. Oh my god. Oh yeah, I can skip that, I forgot. Okay. Ooh. DP. Oh, that was so close. Another one. Yep. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do that. Grab. Oh. Oh no! Straight to danger. Oh. Not like this. Neutral jump. Oh. Oh god. Not like this. I win. Let's go. I'm alive. Misinput. Oh. One block. Your leg's not long enough. Oh. The panic.
Round 2. Fight.
Oh, I ducked. Oh, hi, Brecky. Wait, I think you were here. I missed you. I missed your message. How's the Brecky? Ah! Oh, that hits. I know the corner. Know the corner. Yeah, corner's yours. I know the corner. Whoa! Oh my god. Life flushed with my eyes. What a grab. I think that's very minus. Oh, that works. Okay, okay. Oh, I thought the level 2 works as well. Oh! Oh! Peek! Oh! Alright! They think you got the cross up. I honestly didn't think I could got the cross up as well. I was playing out my mind. I don't think that's minus. I don't think that's punishable. Oh. Wake up. Don't do it. 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 I gotta wait for it. Don't do it. I can defend myself. No, I'm going up. I don't want the wall. Come here. The war is yours. Woo. Do we both carry the same time? That's kinda cool. Uh oh. Wow, what a punish. Oh god, damage. Ooh. Nice. Neutral jump. Another one, another one, another one. Oh. Oh, I cannot react to it. I'm bad, I'm bad. Grab. Ooh, the fear. The animation of this character model, I know, right? It's perfect. Oh, DP. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna get the style. Oh yeah, that style. Oh, wait, I'm burned out. Oh, oh. Get away from me! Help! Oh, oh god. I have no frames. I have no frames. Oh my god, I have no frames. Help! Okay, okay. Combos! I got him. Ah, okay. I don't like being in burnout. It's so scary. Nut. No one's nutting. No. Also, hi, Smoky Dragons. Oh. Oh yeah, you know, maybe I should say like a secret tech of mine. Yesterday when I was playing against a really good Platinum Kimberly, and then I believe it was Pinky who told me in the chat that, whoa, Kimberly suffers when people disrespect her a lot. So that's why you see me press a lot of random buttons against Kimberly. Neutral jump. Oh, nice. Oh, whoa, what a confirm. Level 1? Yo, cool. Is this 1 or 2? Damage looks like level 2. Nice! Nice pressure. How you doing, Smoky Dragons?
Round 2. Fight.
Oh, nice leg. DP. Why do I feel like the DP is unintended? So is this one. Oh. No. Peek. Oh. Nice block. I cannot react to that. Oh, wow, what a punish. Doing good. Nice. Good to know. EP. The sequel? The sequel? Oh my god. Yeah, that's fitting. Yeah, that seems very punishable. I should try some medium buttons. Oh. I tried it. I'm the style combo. Oh, good. Smoky, stinky. I messed up.
Judy wins.
You know, it's like I'm still messing up the short DP combo. It's so hard to do sometimes. Most of the time, actually. Smoky, you stinky. Oh my god, stink. I don't smell it. No. Medium buttons. Oh. Help. Ooh. Oh, what a grab. Coolness yours. Oh, help. What did... Help. Wow, you got robbed. Come here. Come here. Oh, help. DP, okay. Wow, that was close. I don't know what happened to that super. Jury strong? Jury's very strong. I cannot downplay how strong Jury is. Jury is truly very, very strong. Like, this button alone allows Jury to just play the game. Ugh. Almost. Oh, what a grab. Oh, I ducked. Whoa. I fist spun. Oh god. Ooh. I feel the snowball. Big combo! Yeah, heavy one charge does give Jury more combo potential. Because now the Kaosuko forward medium kick is down medium able. Oh. Oh no. A medium. Oh, I didn't even punish it this time. Oh. Oh, that recovers all your drive gauge. Damn. Maybe drive parry isn't that bad. If used well, of course. Oh, what a read! Grab. Wake up, grab! Oh! Oh, oh! Don't, there's no need to panic, it's just casual matches. There's no, there we go. There's no need to panic, it's just casual matches.
Round 2. Fight.
DP. Oh. Oh, DP. Whoa, what did I confirm? No, oh, just one more jab. Oh, nice. Neutral jump. I waited for it.
Round 1. Fight.
Oh, one grab. I almost parried it. Nice combo. Nope. Oh god. Whoa, what a grab. Good shit. Good read, good read. Corner's yours. Head over the corner, thank you. Wolfie Kobold, hi. Yep, we yippin'. Oh, nice. Yep, yep. Oh, what a Tatsu. Good shit. That was so fast. That was beautiful. We yippin' here. Thanks for the follow the other day. No fear. Just neutral jump, no fear. Come on. Corner. But I think oh, I'm so sorry. Oh god, no, ow, ow. I'm just a limser. Ooh. Whoa. No frames? No frames? Oh shit, I'm so sorry. Oh no, not like this. No. No frames. Ow. Whoa! Beautiful parry. What a grab? I'm dead. I'm not dead. Oh! Mama gave me a second chance. I threw it away. Good shit. Good shit. Good check. Good check. I tried to throw there. I played 170 MS. You know what? Same. But hey, at least, I mean, I'm having fun. I hope you are too. I'm just having fun clowning with neutral jumps. Neutral jump. I mean, honestly though, Jury's neutral jump is really good. Look at this. The split, the range is so good. Ow. Oh. Whoa, that's minus on hit? Oh, one nice grab. I wanted to be menacing, just fall forward and grab. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Because I gotta do it. I gotta do it. Oh, oh my god, I'll take it. Whoa. Oh, there's a combo? Nice jump. Oh. Oh. Ah. Oh. Almost died. BP. Whoa. The eye. Another one. Oh shit, I'm dead. Oh, you have no health. DI Nation. I'm your host. A Kobo doing DI. I don't think it works that way. I'm gonna try. Whoa, good check. Ow, help! Ow! I don't on the wall. Another one. Oh, ow. Neutral jump. Neutral jump. Neutral jump. Oh, what a punish! This is beautiful. Nip. Grab. Sweet. Dive kick. Another one. Eek. Whoa! Ay! Nice. I think this is it. Let's go! Ow! Crap. Oh, what combo do I do after that?
Round 2. Fight.
Maybe I need to lap that one. After a punish counter, the heavy kicks. Damn, nice combo. Never sick of watching the combos. Neutral jump. Neutral jump, another one. Okay, I won't punish yours. Oh, my leg. Going in. Help. Oh. Peek. Whoa, what a trade. Let's go. Oh. Oh, the daylight robbery.
Judy wins.
The daylight robbery.
Round 1. Fight.
Under the overhead missing. It's okay, today we train to do less misinput for the future. I still sometimes do DP misinput sometimes when I try to do forward heavy punch. That's not it. Oh. Ooh. There it is. Jump. Oh, good call. Oh! Ooh, what a grab. Let's go, Salazzle.
Round 2.
This always happens. Yeah. Oh, wow, nice. This is so fast. Ooh. Snowball? Jump. Peek my way out. Oh, that's... Ow. I thought that worked. Oh. You jump. Where's my drive rush cancel? Nope. Oh my god. Yo, nice. Finally over. Good shit. Finally, Albanium. Whoa. Strike Gauge. Bully. Initiate bully. Oh, not like this. Yeah. The sequel? Okay. I'm sorry? Oh, what the fuck? Not like this. Not like this. I will retaliate. I'm a lizard. Oh, I should have bullied. You were still in burnout. I didn't see it. No. Oh my god, that was beautiful. The wave. Good shit. Finally overhead.
Round 1. Fight.
Peek. Oh, no fear. Indeed. I press 1. Oh, help! Ow! Whoa! Good DI. I cannot do heavy kick too much. I keep getting DI'd now. Ow. Jump. I'm still doing it. Oh! Kick. Neutral. Oh, good call. I neutral jump too much. Okay.
Round 2. Fight.
Let's go, Salazzle. Dive kick. Dive kick. Oh, almost break into it. Oh, grab. Nope. Nope. No, don't jump. Ooh. Oh, mommy. Oh, God. Help. I press a button. Yeah. Jab. Oh, whoa, what an overhead. Oh my god, that was beautiful. Oh my god. That's a huge commitment too. Wake up super! The wake up super! No one expects it! Oh my god! Oh, my leg. Woohoo! Grab. I don't. Oh. Did you? Come here. Give me your frames. Give me your frames. Give me your frames. I need it. Give me your frames. I need your frames. Frames. The frame. The bully. The bully on the burnout is real. That's not a punish, I think. Oh, what a punish! Good. No, just now there was how many jabs? 5 jabs? I pressed 5 jabs as well. Yeah, I didn't get countered for it. Huh. Jab. Oh. I wonder if I can jab challenge that move. Let me try. Don't jump. Oh. Sorry. Don't jump. Does this kill? Nope. Grab. Grab.
Round 2. Fight.
Okay, I cannot. Let's not do that. Help! Oh god! Ooh, what a grab. I tried grabbing. I know the corner. Ooh, I almost break into it. I press a button. Oh my god. Nice. Whoa! Nice overhead. I tried to parry the low instead. Ooh. Damn, the overhead is now getting consistent. Level 3. Neutral jump. Oh. Don't DI. Don't jump. I'm waiting. Don't DI. Don't jump. Oh! Oh, that doesn't work. Okay. What? No fear? Do it again. Do it again. Oh shit, I didn't react to it. No, I'm dead. Oh, oh. Mom, give me a sec. Okay, well. I thought Mom gave me a second chance. Good shit, good shit. Nice.
Kimberly wins.
You know, I think my problem, I can't come up with the wall splat or like after the wall splat, the combo potential just like drops exponentially. Big word. It's just like one launch from a special and then just another special. That's it. Oh, good grab. No. Yeah, the special launch into another special, right? Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't jump. Don't jump. Don't jump. Don't grab. Don't grab either. Don't grab. Don't grab. Don't jump. Don't jump. Grab. I cannot react to DI. I'm bad. Lucky. Oh. No! They cut the Seekers! No! The Seekers! I don't like the Seekers. The Seekers hurts. Oh yeah, C as in Southeast Asia. Southeast Asia curse. Not me's. Mio. Oh, Tosnick, hi. Oh my god. Hi, Tosnick. I saw you playing Tears of the Kingdom. How was it? I think I was right. I think. Yeah, I was right. How was the game? How was Tears of the Kingdom? Welcome in. I'm again the snake. GG. 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 Thanks for playing Mies. Wait, I typed the wrong thing. It was good, almost 8.5 hours. Oh yeah. The game does something to our brain that I just want to play more, right? It's the same with Street Fighter 6. Yesterday I played exactly 9 hours. It's too fun, I don't want to stop. I get it, don't worry. Also, welcome in everyone. I'm Tylra, I'm a kobold. Don't mind the Salazzle broken leg back there, it's okay. I play a bunch of games. I especially love fighting games. And I do art occasionally. So yeah, welcome in. Just so fun, the music, the gameplay. I know, right? Like, it's the game where everything just clicks. You know, everything just like, oh, I want to play more. That kind of feeling. To me, anyway. Especially when I just started doing my cave dwelling in a game. I'm still pretty early on, I would say. Because I don't really have much time to play Tears of the Kingdom. Pretty much the time I got to play is when I stream. So, I just started my cave dwelling. Like my first ever upheaval thing, I think. Chasm, sorry. Yeah, I'm in my first chasm. I'm having a ton of fun in there. Cave dwelling for a kobold. Makes sense, right? Yeah, thanks again for the raid. Really appreciate you. And I hope you guys have fun with Tosnick's stream. Is that the liquor? Is that the liquor? Liquor? Did my first dungeon, then went down in the chasm to get the camera. Yeah, I get the camera and then I took like a best picture for the statue, which totally did not include Link covering the whole statue. That didn't happen. Like that didn't happen. It's just a lie. It's fake news. Fake news. But yeah, the game's great. I tried doing that and the game bugged out. Oh my god. Oh my god. I got lucky and the game didn't bug out on me. Oh, game's fun, man. Game's fun. Hit restart to get the picture to work. My god. You gotta love when you get to bug up the game. It's a special feeling. When you bug up the game, it's quite special, I have to say. I'm gonna go open up the lights real quick. It's getting dark. Just a few seconds. You guys had fun looking at Salazzle feet? Salazzle feet, top tier. Out for a few matches? Sure. But then I don't know how the netcode is gonna be between us. I assume you're from US? We can try, we can try. But I hate this raid and how I'm gonna go chill for the rest of the time. Hi mom. You have a lovely rest of the stream. Thank you, Taslik. Have a good rest. Take care of yourself. Definitely take care of yourself, alright? Thank you, thank you. We can retest the rollback. Oh yeah. We can see some teleportation. I mean, I'll be playing Jury. It's gonna be rough for you. Since Jury just teleportation all day. I should change character then. I'll bring my Pocket Marissa. But you're platinum though. I'm scared. Would be great. Okay. Bring your mate. Okay, I'll get Jury. I will apologize in advance if the rollback is too terrible. Shall we meet at the same cabinet? Oh, you're you are fast. Oh my god. Let's play. We playing. Zangief. I want to see myself get throned. Oh, speaking of Zangief, I don't think I've seen any Zangief online. Like ranked casual. I don't see Zangief. Lick, lick, lick. The smile. Oh my god. Let's go. The teleportation. Oh my god, that's so scary. Don't grab me. Oh. I don't want to get grabbed. That looks plus as hell. Oh my god, I almost got red. Oh, that didn't work. Help. Lariato. Help, what is that? Damage! Oh my god. Dive kick. Help. Help. Oh my god, the snowball. See, what I tell you, Zangief is hype as fuck. The rollback. Okay, I jumped too much. Oh! Don't grab me. Help. I'm gonna try. Try the ping? Try the ping is fine. Singles rollback? It's as if the jab was just gone. We don't see the jab. It's 6 frames of rollback. It's so funny. Oh! Oh, what a confirm. The jab just gone. Jabs of 4 frames. Whoa, what is that? Don't grab me. Help. Oh, oh. That's not it. Oh. Doesn't work that way. Nope. Nope. Oh my god, that is scary as fuck. Wah. Oh. I survived the World War II. Don't come here. Do not touch me. No touch the Salazzle. Help! Help! Damn, Zangief! Type as fuck. I've been hugged. Just had my lunch, combo barely full. Nice. I think it's actually bearable. Like, the connection is smooth, you know what I mean? What is that? What is that? I never seen that move before. What is that? Is that parry? Grab. Ooh. Huh, armor? Okay. Fair enough, fair enough. Zangief do be chunky. Oh. Whoa. It's so scary. Also glad you had your glad you had your lunch, Merp. DP. Oh, you can. I think that the triple smash is like delayable. Delay. Oh. Are you throwing tantrum? Did I say something wrong? Woo, help! Yeah, this one. Ugh. I need help. Call an ambulance. But not for me! I don't think this works. Oh, style on them. Let's go. Oh, what is that? Range, help! Wee! Crap. Don't dive kick against Zangief. I've learned my lesson. I lied. I never learned. Ow! 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 A cute combo. Merp is a cute combo. Yeah. Oh. The combos are adorable. I'll take it. I love them. Help! I'm just trying to jab. Armor? Fair enough. Woo. I'm sorry I did all these combos. What a punish. I'll punish. Jump. Jump. Another one. Another one. The confusing the schmicks. The schmicks. Whoop. What a parry. Sorry. Sorry. That scared me.
Round 2. Fight.
We also yip. Oh my god, yeah. Ow. Oh. Nice. We also yip. We do the heckin' yip. Ow. Good. Grab. I don't know the corner. Wee. Doesn't work that way. I don't think that's reactable, I'm sorry. I should refrain using DI. Using DI is just broken at this point. Like 6 frames, yeah. Oh, nice. Help. Oh, wow, good shit. Yep. I love Zangief now. What is that? Is that a grab? Jump. Another one. I'm out. DP. Another one. Oh. DP. Jump. I'm sorry. Wow. Damage. It will always be so scary to look at damage. I think that's punishable. Oh! The grab. It's so scary. I hear the. I know I'm dead. The is all it needs. It's so good. Nice. I think that's actually by reaction, which is insane considering that the netcode we are having right now. You're amazing, holy shit. Oh. I think that's a rollback thing, yeah. The game thinks that Joe is trying to do that. Nice. Oh. What is the correct range? Don't grab me. Oh, that's all I ask. I have a family of 10 standards. Oh my god. I have a family. 10 standards. Oh my god. 10 standards. The fear. It's in my brain. This is what it feels like to fight against Zangief, huh? Now I know. Oh my god. Oh, I missed it. I missed it. I'm bad. Oh, I think that's plus. I think I got red, which is kind of scary. Ow. Whoa! Oh. Whoa, that's hype as fuck! Wake up, Kimchi! I deserve this! Wake up, Kimchi! Dude, that is that a level 1 or level 2? That is hype as fuck! Damn, you're making me want to play Zangief, but I don't think I have the execution for it. Ow. Oh, imagine if I bring Marissa here, I'll just get bullied. at least I know something about Juri, you know? Alright, sorry to deal with this early, but holy shit, man. Oh, what the f— oh my god, I have lost my communication skills. Ooh, nice Darius. Ooh, range? Oh god! I'm just a lizard. Hagane no necktie? Meat like steel? Nice. I think that's an anti-air for Darius. Or like a DP or some sort. Probably. Nice. I don't think that's punishable, but I think that's an overhead. Oh! Oh! Oh, good. I'm alive. One more throw is all it takes. One more throw, I don't have critical art. This is even worse. Stranger danger. Mama says, when strangers are giving out candies, don't touch them. Actually, try to eat the candy. Oh! Ow! I have CA, I have CA, I have CA, I have CA. Mummy, all good. The fear. Oh my god. Oh my god, what a raid. The fear. You know what? This makes me love fighting Zangief. Zangief prospers when opponents is afraid of Zangief. Oh, nice. Oh, that's a setup. Okay, okay. I think that's plus. Oh! I try to take the troll. It is an overhead. Okay, okay. What the fuck is going on? Oh, that's the best. That's the best win pose. Hello. It is a setup. Okay, okay. Oh, I got around. Let's go. That was 30. Throw loop in 6 frame, roll back, pog. Pog. What's super going? Oh. Whoa! Dive? That's not dive kick. Dive? Oh, what a reaction! Oh my god! Oh, I don't know. Oh, I don't like that. Help! Help! I don't like it. I would jump for the life of me, and I will proceed to spin to win. Excuse me? How many hits is in there? The knowledge check, they're bleeding. Oh. That looks plus, I think. This is plus as hell, I think. Nice check. Oh, nice. Don't grab me. That's all I ask. I have a family of 10. I have a family of 10. Don't grab me. Woo! Oh my god. DP. I deserve this. Oh. Oh, that's not a punish. That is not a punish. Oh good. I got this. I need to at least win a match against you. I'll try my best. Woo. I think I'm small enough to high crush it, I think. I'm jumping. Jumping saves lives. Or not. Nice. Oh, I forgot about it. Sorry, that was scrub, that was scrubby, that was scrubby, that was scrubby, that was scrubby. I'm sorry, I'm sorry. That was scrubby. Aw. You know what? I hate myself for doing it. God damn it. That was scrubby. Oh, Zangief is big body. Oh my god, I can't believe I didn't jump after that. Nope. Nice suit. I'm doing it again. I'm doing it again. I'm doing it again. I'm doing it again. Oh, my life, my life. Oh, 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 oh. The fear. Oh. Ooh. DP. Ooh, I survived. Let's go. DP. DP. Let's go. That is so scary and I love it. I don't think it's plus enough, I think. Oh! Your legs, Salazzle. Your legs. They need to be longer. Nice lariat. DP! I'm dead. Help. Oh! Oh, I jumped again. I can't believe I did it. Oh! What did not hit me? Oh! Overhead. I won my family! My family though. My 10 Salandits. Okay, I think that's punishable. You know what? That is actually punishable. You know what? Jury has good buttons. What am I doing? I want it, I want it. That works, right? Nice, Lariat! Oh my god, the reaction is insane! I deserve this! I can only say the reaction is insane! Like, in a good connection, I can hardly react to jump-ins. Lariat doesn't hit behind. Oh, Lariat doesn't hit behind! Okay, okay. Alright, I'm ready. Oh, oh my god! Ugh. Oh, I thought that's a cross-up. Oh, it's still punish. What is that? What is that? Oh! No! Oh my god, I got read like a book! I got read like a book. That's hype as fuck. When I see Zangief jump with me, yeah. Yep, that's how I ended up here. What was that? Oh my god, I am so afraid to jump right now. Whoa. I got this. I'm alive. I still got this. But this game, easy, I'm telling you. I win. Do a move. Do a move. Do a move. Do a move. I dare you to do a move. I'm loving this, I'm sorry. It's just so rare to see a Zangief. Ow, my leg. I bet my life on that jump. Whoa! This plus. I'm playing the game. I think. I wanna play the game. Mom says I want to play the game. It's my turn. It's my turn. This orange janky. It's my turn on this game. I want to play the game. The game. I want to play the game. Mom says it's my turn to play this slide. Nice. Jump forward. Oh, okay. It doesn't hit crouching opponents. Okay. Oh, what is that? I think my life just flashed before me. Oh. One thing I see you do is that you never jump, which is impressive as hell. How do you... Okay, you know what? For that you get a fuck you, but I still love playing with you. Oh my god. I love it. Oh my god. That drop kick though. Oh. I press the button. Oh. 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 Oh! I actually won the round of footsies. Mini footsie, I think. Oh, I'm scared. My life. Ooh, nice block. Ooh. Nice. Oh. Yeah. Whoa. I'm not jumping. I would never jump. I would never jump. I'm gonna play out my mind. I want to try to win at least once. Let's go. Ow. Oh, it's a combo. Oh. Ow. DP actually worked. I can't believe it. Let's not count that. You know what? I actually input jump just now. I should have been dead. Good. Oh! I'm sorry. I shouted. The oh. Oh my god. Insane. Oh, also, if I'm not mistaken, I think the big command grab input is full circle input, I think, right? Which makes it even more the hype. Like, how are you supposed to goddamn do a full circle motion input? How's that even possible? Without jumping, is what I'm trying to say. Like, without jumping, how are you gonna input that shit? I jumped again. Grab. Oh my god.
Round 2. Fight.
Alright, I'm ready. I jumped. Peek. Peek. Oh. Zangief, your legs is so thick. Grab. Peek. Peek. Punch. Oh! I should have died. I should jumped, but hey. If I know what I should have done, I'm a king. I'm a queen. Let's go. Oh. Oh. Too short. Oh my god, that is so scary. Every time I get grabbed, it's the fear, the jump scare. It is like I'm playing a horror game. Oh, that works. Okay. Help. Oh my god, that is almost hype. You know what? Forget it. This is hype as fuck. Nice parry. Oh. That's not. Woo! I want to be alive. Oh my god. Oh my god. I got spared. I'm dead. Oh, would you? I'll take it. Please get away from me. Please get away from me. You know what? I throw it away. I throw it away. I love this game. I really do. Oh my god, I love fighting games. Fighting games are wild, man. Ooh, what's that? Body check, body check. I'm jumping, I'm wilding. I'm a wild bolt, I'm a wild kobold, help! Oh, I'm jumping again. I'm jumping once more. Actually, another one. Oh god. You know, you never expect the other one. Oh. Yeah, expect another one. Just another one. Help. Why are you so close in my face? Jumping. Let's go. Mom, give me a second chance. I'm not gonna waste it. DI. Right. Oh my god! That was daylight robbery.
Round 2. Fight.
Oh, nice. Oh yeah, multiple hits. I forgot. Lariat. Oh, I'm dead. Corner's yours. Nice. Oh. I told you, every time I get grabbed, every time I hear the sound, my soul just like got scared away for a little bit. I messed up. Whoa! Whoa! Oh my god, that is hype! That is so good. I'm gonna cry. Yeah. Help. Help. I need... Oh my... Where's my drive rush? Please, please, I don't get grabbed. Mama! Get away from me. Don't... No touchy. Don't touch the Salazzle. Oh! Oh! I deserve this. I could have won if I did a goddamn down medium punch. Oh my god. You know, those 13-0, it's not 13-0, it's... We just started playing. Right? Those matches, oh my god. Those matches didn't count. Now we're playing, oh god. Help. Oh my god, that is so scary. Oh my, oh. You know what, this run doesn't count. It didn't happen. Oh, here we go again. This is part. Dude, the neck. Give is scary, yeah. I said it multiple times. Playing against Give is like a goddamn horror game. So good. Oh, what don't you grab my leg? You just grabbed my leg. Overhead? Alright. Help. Oh, I'm dead. Goodbye, world. Goodbye, world. Good shit. Honestly, I still don't know what to do against Keith. Just play footsies, I guess? Trying to zone, trying to out footsie Zangief is all I can think of, but it's really hard when when Zangief himself knows how to footsie as well. Oh. Nice. Damn, that was scary. That was scarily good. Oh, I'm dead. No, I lied. I never die. No. You bully! You were trying to grab me full screen. You were trying to grab me full screen. Well, half screen, not full screen. Exo. Oh, I didn't think you were gonna do it again. Oh. Why are you throwing a tantrum? Wah! I'm dead. Goodbye, world. Oh no. Yep. Is that super... That super, the follow-up needs the bar for the air command grab, question mark? Yeah, I don't know why I tried to parry there. Do not press parry against Sangya. Think so? Okay. Oh! This is gonna scale? Yeah. Because it's after a perfect parry. Stop trying to parry that shit! Brain, work with me. Brain. Also, is it like when you get the perfect KO, you get the special win animation and you get that? That's kinda cute. Oh, my life flushes. Oh. Whoa, that is pog as fuck. You read my check with Drive Rush. I'm sorry, but that is so good. I was trying to check your Drive Rush and you call on so quick. It is so scary. Whoa! Don't grab me. Don't grab me. Yeah. Oh. Nice. That was obvious. Oh, nice reaction. I'm dead. Blam! It only counter grab. Oh. And kicks, okay. Grab and kicks, that's even more scary than it's the punches. Oh. You know, I'll learn someday. And I'll just neutral jump that one. And then I'm gonna get grab again. The world is a scary place, man. Ooh. I think that's Mega Plus. I could be wrong. I'm not giving up, I'm not giving up. Oh. Oh. I'm not giving up, baby. It's one thing about fighting games, you just never give up. Although I think I did learn something against a Geef then, you know? Like my first experience, my first hands-on experience against a Geef is like super strong Geef. Not grabs, my brain was just thinking grabs all the time. Hey, I cannot fault you for that, you're a Geef. You are Zangief. If you're not thinking about grabs, you're doing it wrong. DP? Whoa. That's a 3.5. Jumping after that seems like a oh my god! Nice. I'm jumping again. Dash and grab. Dash and DI. Oh! Ow. Oh, I shouldn't be dashing in DI. DI has range. Just a little slow. Ah. Wood. Oh, mama. Best combo. Whoa! I think that's plus. The charge up punch is plus. Looks to me like it's plus, I think. Okay. I only know how to pressure like this at the wall. Because Joey's throw is just a throw, dash in, a throw, or just DI straight up. Then people can hardly react to that because it's stupid fast. I didn't duck. Help. My life. Oh my god, what is that? I'm just gonna do it. When do you get skin mods? Nexus mods. You're just gonna need Nexus mod, and then you're gonna need... Whoa! Oh, it's frame 0! It's frame 0! Yeah, Nexus mod and Fluffy mod manager. Good shit. And then you're just gonna install it. I also have a Bowser. By the way, these mods are not made by me. I'm not that good. Ooh, what read? I'm so afraid to jump after that. Igzo. I tried to backdash. If only my PC can handle this game well, I can up the textures a little bit. Ooh, that's not it. Nice, beautiful. Yeah, I think that was roll back there. I feel it. Do I need to download the Fluffy Mod Manager to make it possible to use mods? Yeah, you do. Don't worry, Fluffy Mod Manager is pretty easy to use. As far as I know, yeah. If you modded Monster Hunter Rise before, then yeah, it's similar. Help! Oh my god, I'm dead. Oh! I have a family! I have a family! Good call, I'm dead. There it is! I have a family! Oh. My silent did! Ooh, my leg? Oh. Nice. Delay. I don't the corner. Oh my god, that is so hard to look at. Ow. DP, I'm dead. Oh my god. Geef is hype. Geef is hype. You know, I don't want to play Geef. I don't even know how to do the motion inputs for Geef. I'll stick with Jury for now. And also Pocket Marisa. Marisa. DP. Oh. I'm jumping. I'm jumping again. I'm jumping again. I'm jumping again. I'm jumping. Oh, I jumped too late. Help. I jump again. Grab. I jump again. Oh yeah, I have projectile. What am I doing? Spam that shit. Oh, no wonder you are doing that move. That move is that one dodges my projectile. Fucking multiple multiple hits. My brain need to register that. I walked into it, it's like, yeah, it's time for a knuckle sandwich. Oh my god. Jump. I'm not gonna be afraid. I'm jumping again. I'm in my rebellious phase. I'm jumping again. I lied. I lied. I totally lied.
Round 2. Fight.
Round start kick. Round start kick. Damage. Overhead. Oh my god, I'm so glad I didn't jump. You know, dying to a command grab than an air command grab feels different. Because air command grab means that you just got hard read. Hard read like a book. I almost jumped. The thing is, I can't even react to the move that's coming out currently. No more grab. Yeet! Yeet! You wanna know why I tried to do those two times? Grab. I tried to grab twice. I got shit on for it. Dude goes for comfort Zangief. Ooh, range. Ooh. Roll back. Don't worry about it. It happens. The sequel? The pre DP the sequel did work? I can't believe it. DP the sequel just dropped. but I didn't do as well as the first one. Dive kick. Dive kick. Oh, connection is being a little janky. Give a second. Nice. 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 Oh my god, I almost got killed. Oh! I almost ran into it. Uh-oh. I'm still doing it anyway. Oh! I'm still doing it anyway. Chip, 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 chip.
Round 2. Fight.
I didn't do the forward dash there. I don't think that works. Yeah. I was trying to do a level 3 combo, but it didn't come out. Okay, let me recover for a little bit. Thank you very much. I'm not asking much. I'm gonna get grabbed, am I? Yeah. Oh, I jumped! Let's go! Oh my god, I won once? This is unbelievable! GG. Thanks. Thank you, Joe. Oh my god, that was great. Actually got around. A match, sorry. I got multiple rounds. Crap. It's kinda sad how we have to play in this netcode. Sorry about the netcode. Oh, I almost died. Oh, overhead. Igzu? Igzu? Oh, we're both trying to read. We're trying to read each other like a book. I don't believe that. I tried. Where the fear sets in. When the fear sets in.
Round 2. Fight.
Whoa, okay. Nice, good call. Jumping. I'm gonna live. I'm gonna live. Oh, I don't want to go back, please. Oh! Neutral jump. Oh. Oh my god! Help! Am I dead? What is that? Whoa, what is that? Is that an egg wrap? Is that a TK egg wrap? Oh, that is actually a TK goddamn egg wrap. I couldn't believe it. TK egg wrap. Yo! Okay. I got this. I got this. I'll skip mine, don't worry. Failed to do any combo. Oh, what, you can do the combo? Damn, that's so hard though. I don't know how to punish that. Eek. Whoa. Hi. Oh, Jackaroo, I remember. Silver.
Bullied by Zangief. I would never.
You will never. Hi, Silver. It's been a while. Oh. Oh. Help. Help. I don't want it. I want to win. I don't think this kills. Thank you, Jackaroo. Appreciate 11 months. Huh. Huh. Oh my god, I almost died. I feel like I dead. I was dead just now. I was dead. I was so dead just now. Oh my god. I think I'm learning something, question mark? I don't know. Gonna DP more against Zangief, I think. Whoa! Uh-oh. Connection being janky. Okay, just do that, just do that. Oh, the bully! The burnout bully! Lariat not hitting behind Zangief is the most cursed timeline. I feel like it. It should hit both sides. Like, it not hitting behind is kind of, yeah, cursed. I mean, I'll take what I can get, but still. Zangief main must be sad. A full spinning move doesn't hit behind. That doesn't make sense, you know? Oh, help. I'm gonna live. I have a family of 10. Saladits. Oh. Oh. Oh, goodbye world. Corner's yours. Corner's yours. I tried to level 1, I tried to level 1. I'm okay with it. I played Luke. Oh, you played Luke? You're not playing Zangief anymore? Oh, wow, Breen. Tune extra red, Breen red. Hi, Breen. Give me a second, Breen. Watch me as I get bullied. Lady of Guns, thank you. No, don't grab me. It's all ass. I've been able 10 seconds. Oh my god. Oh. Lady with Guns, thank you. Oh, so we're coming, everyone. A grab. Another grab. The eye. Alright. Yeah, I think the tries to charm, I did it too many times. Good shit, good shit. GG. Machoke versus Salazzle. Joe knows how to throw fists. Yeah. What were you playing, Brian? What were you playing? Give me a second. Let me give it. Don't worry. It's fine, it's fine. Alien Dark Descent. Okay, I'll punch you once. Okay, there we go. How was Alien Dark Descent? Did you get any... Is there any xenomorph in the game? I mean, knowing the game is called Aliens, there should be, right? How is it? Sorry, I know one combo. That's a punish. Anti-jump grab. Remember to throw loop because Shuri's busted? Yeah, I've been using that a lot. Then in the pandemic, leave a lot of expensive resources behind, so I just reload and fix off stream. Oh, you made a lot of progress. Cool. Oh, my life. Oh. I'm doing it. Oh. Any jump grab. Hit. Jump. Jump again. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I thought I was gonna do a third hit. Oh! Give some of my only character the easy access to plus frames. Oh, really? I forgot what. I don't even know what is Jury's plus frames, to be honest. Also, I hope you had fun reading. Also, welcome in everyone. My name is Tylra. I'm a kobold. I play a bunch of games, and I especially love fighting games. I do art occasionally. That's pretty much it. Yeah. Welcome in. Oh, I'm just gonna take this. Stomp. I'm sorry. Whoa, that's a combo. I'm bad. I'm bad. And jump grab. Dash in. Back. Oh my god, I dash into the range. Wake up DI. I'm scrub. I'm a scrub. Wake up DI, I'm a scrub. I'm sorry, that was disgusting. Which storm though? Is it jumping heavy punch? I only know that's her storm, this one. Oh. That's not it. I'm jumping still. I'm jumping to save my life. I'm jumping to save my life, I don't care. After that move, I am so jumping. Wait, I shouldn't be saying that. That's right. It's an auto mix-up. I didn't punch it. I didn't punish it. Oh my god. Damn, nice. I'm dead. Wait, I'm not. This is, yeah, scaled. I got greedy. I wanted the chip. I wanted the chip. Woohoo. Oh my god. I jumped. I jumped. I pressed the button, but I was too late. Alright, I have a chance. I have a chance. I have a chance. Actually, what? What just happened? I think that was rollback. An invisible air hit my leg. But it's okay. I know. I know what's gonna happen already. Don't worry about it. Oh, that's a different throw. Oh my god, that's a different throw. It's all. I said I wanted to jump to save my life, but I didn't. I lied. Wow! Holy shit! What is that? Whoa. DP, I'm dead. Oh. Corner's yours. Oh. Oh my god, ow. Armor? Frame 0! Frame 0! Give can get plus rates on Jet, Stand HP, 4 HP, Stand HK. Most other characters only got 1 plus frame button. Joining gets... Oh, Stand MP as a plus on block. Oh, that's Stand NP, not Stomp. I thought ST dot. I thought that dot is O. So, this? Bitches, this move has no range. Oh. Hello, you just grabbed my elbow? Rude. Ah! I have no permission, no consent, no touchy, no huggies, no consent, no. Lariator. Peek. Grab. Grab. That's not a grab, but I'll take it. You know, I'm at the point where I'm okay with this. I remember when I first started playing Guilty Gear Strive, I am going through this phase as well. Right? Going through like getting destroyed by pros in the game. That's how I learned the game. Huh. Hi legs. Wakamaru. I don't want. Oh, actually reacted to that. Let's go. Uh oh. Uh oh. How's the leg doing? I'm still on blocking combos into crouch HP. On counter after drive rush. Oh yeah, I've been doing that. Oh, you grabbed my leg. You grabbed my leg. That was my leg. Give me the plus frame. Give me the plus frame. Huh? Where's my plus frames? Where's my burger? Where's my burger? I want service. Where's my burger? What the? Yeah, don't worry about it. I'm worrying about it a little bit. Ow. You know, that was a misinput, but I'll take it. Hagane. Hagane no necktie. Kick. Punch. Kick. Whoa. Kick. Oh. I deserve this. I'm going in. Ooh, that's cool. Oh, that's an easier punish. Let's go. Mama. You know what? I did a combo on Joe. I'll take it. I will take it. That combo, I did it on Joe. I win. I win the whole game. I'm trying intended to fix late last night but failed, but better than the day before. How the streets has been treating Salazzle? Has been treating Salazzle well. Very well, actually. Yeet. Oh, 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 what do I do? What do I do? Oh my god! Ow. I'm alive. I'm alive, baby. Spin! 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 Jab! Oh! I tried to jab. Kyrie's carrier. Oh, drink? I will, thank you. Give me a second. Let me get this made real quick. Cool Feng Shui combo, thank you. Ugh. I love the combo as well. I've been doing that online all the time because I love it so much. Help, help, help. Punish. Good punish. Easy. Don't need more punish than that. Block this. Oh, oh, ah! Jump, ah! Die! Whoa, that's hype. I am bad. I don't know how to pressure people when they're in burnout. Alright, give me a few seconds. Alright, all good. Thank you, Kairos. Ooh. Oh. Nice. Oh, my leg. Not like this. I still want my leg to stay alive. Woo. Yeah. I didn't punish. Yeet. Jump. Peek. Jump. Backdash. Peek. Whoa! Oh yeah! Footsies! Give is a lot scarier than you remember. True. I mean... Oh! Kick! I don't dare to dash in anymore. Oh my god! Woo! I should have jumped. Yeah. Nice. Huh. Woo! Nice. Oh my god, my thumb was so sweaty. It went off the joystick. I cannot believe it. Doesn't work. I'm gonna chip you up, sorry. In Burnout, building a stock between 0 and block, and you have a stock, and low projectile becomes +2 on block, so you can just loop buttons until the projectile until you run out of stocks. Oh shit, and throw them a bunch? Oh, on Burnout, projectile is good. Oh, range? Wow. Backdash, backdash. I don't need Korean backdashes. That feels good. That actually feels good. That actually new form of bullying when someone is on burnout. New form of bullying. Yeah. Eek. That's sad. I'm sorry. It doesn't hit behind. That is so jank. I'm sorry, but it looks so jank. Ooh! You know what? I'll take it. It doesn't hit behind. I'll take it. No. Yeet. Nice jump. Oh, I didn't punish. Grab. Help. I need a doctor. Oh, that's different. I need a doctor. Zongia. I can play a few more. I'm getting a little hungry. Time. I cannot check the time now. Not now. I'm gonna play more. Jumping. Oh! Nice. That was a wrong throw. Do it. Oh, what can I do after that? Victory, don't get Oki. Yeah, that's terrible. Closest thing to ordering a doctor available. Drink and stretch. I will do it. Don't jump. Even though you're not jumping. You are never jump. You actually jumped? I'm surprised. Oh yeah, big boy! Oh, good! That was beautiful. Am I dead? Crap. I'm feeling level 3 coming. Is it just me? Jump in. Jump again. Grab. Projectile. Backdash. Go. Oh! The jabs. Honor's yours. Another one. Just punish like this. Woo-hoo. Yeah. The jump pick was a good idea. The jump pick was not a good idea. Oh! The kick is a little too slow. Yeah, I'm dancing. You know, after all that knowledge. 740, I can play a little bit more. I am getting a little hungry. Kobo needs consumption. Don't jump. Don't jump. I'm waiting for it. Whoa! I deserved it. I'm just a lizard. What do you mean? Oh. God, I love fighting against Zangief. Just a pure fear fighting against a Zangief. It's sweet. Plus. Plus. Mom! I would need my plus frames, Mom! Nice jump. I'm jumping again. You never expect I'm jumping again. You never expected but I'm gonna jump again. You know, sometimes when the no mix-up works, you're gonna love it, man. Okay. I'll stop jumping. I learned my lesson. I did learn my lesson, I lied. That is so sad. Oh, you can control the trajectory of the thing? I'm dancing! I was dancing!
Round 2. Fight.
Uh-oh. I need an adult! Woohoo! I'm dead. The panic DP. My leg! I think that's a bait. Okay. On tip range, that's a bait to grab my leg. Let's go! Footsies! I don't know how to talk anymore. Oh my god! Alright. Let's do like 2 or 3 more. Zangief reminds me of Marissa but replaces the charm with fear. Kinda does. Crouch MK to stand LK. Stay LK like DP on hit. Listen good. I'll take it. Woo. Huh. Help! Huh. Ow. I'm jumping. Plus. 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 Where's my drive rush cancel? Ah! Stand LK like DP on hit. Oh, you can cancel stand LK? You can special cancel? I didn't know. I didn't jump. No. I want it. I'm the style. Lariator! I know the corner. Oh! I got the style. I win. You gonna tell me otherwise? Oh. It's fine. The punch is too fast. I need to implement a little bit more drive rush, a parry drive rush. Like this. Doesn't work that way. Crap. Whoa! Miss input. Huh! 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 Oh! Oh! Oh my god! Actual fear! Actual fear! Oh! I'm bad. Oh! Oh my god! The actual fear! You see Zangief, the hand lifts out both of the hand, trying to fucking grab you. That shit fierce. That shit is so scary. It's like I'm playing a horror game, dude. Nice, good check. Oh my god, the check again. I don't believe it. Yeah, do it again. Where's my DP input? Oh! Starflight! Hi. Thanks for the pen. You're gonna do it? You're gonna do it? You're gonna do it! I lied. You're not gonna do it. Sweet. Oh! I'm alive. Mom, give me a second chance. Stand 9 parts links to the first hit of Stand MK? The first hit of Stand MK? Oh. Oh yeah, Stand MK is 2 hits. Also, how are you doing, Starflight? Yeah. Nice. I didn't block. Oh. All right. Oh! Holy shit! I love that. I love that. That was hype. That was hype. That was OD. That was OD. Tongue. Oh! Skill. Not painful. Do you see? I don't feel any pain, if at all. Did something hit me? Oh, where's my level 3? Get the stun here. I was trying to do level 3. My level 3 didn't come out. That could have been a really good situation too. It's okay. I got this. Like this. I'm saving the bar for this round. Don't you know? I'm saving the bar for this round, dude. Whoa! Oh, frame 1, frame 0. Punish counter. Oh, this is gonna be scaled though. Yeah. I didn't confirm it. I got feared. Doesn't work. Ah, I did the wrong one. Good. I have no defense. I have actually no defense. My defense is terrible. I didn't even block a low. You know, I no offense. Anti-air, down heavy punch. It's an anti-air. It works really good. Crouch HP? Is it not? I've been using that to anti-air people and it's working pretty good. Crouching heavy punch, this one. I jumped. Don't. Yeah, she has a DP. D cool? Oh no. What have I done? Please don't touch me. No touchy. Oh, because I was in so much block stun that didn't work. Hey, free? I was in too much block stun. Nice lariat. Too much health, too less health, sorry. That was tight, that was tight, that was tight. I recovered. I recovered from burnout, I think that's a good one. I win. Oh! Oh. Oh, oh my god! I don't know why I tried to punch that. Frame 0! Frame 0! When Zangief lifts both of his arms, I'm dead. Alright, let's do one last one because I am getting hungry. Red! Red! Constellation red, thank you. I love that red. That red is eating green peas, being healthy. Super healthy red. Ow. Ow, 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 ow. Ow, 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 ow. Nice, holy shit. The defense. Ah, DP! Equip 1! Peek! Woo! DP! Oh. The one and only DP that mattered. The sequel, nobody cares. Oh. Yeah. Overhead. Oh my god, I'm getting bullied. I'm jumping. Yep. That is such a hard read. I am in pain. Good shit, good shit. That was a huge read there. The sequel was direct to DVD, if I remember correctly. God, DVD? Nobody uses that anymore. Jeez. Just punish it like this. Frame 0! No! Good check. I jumped on all of those. Oh, goodbye world! Yeah. Well, I did say last one. Free, that was so fast. Are you having low latency now? You know what? Last one, last one, last one. No more, last one, no more. No more, last one, no more. No more, last one. 10 more. No. That was a bit simple. Larga 2. Whoa, the reaction, so beautiful. Goodbye. A variety of rats for purposes. Let me. Oh, look at the rat! Surprise rat! Surprise rat! Yeet! Oh. Oh. Been playing for 45 matches. Oh, 45 matches is nothing. I don't mind losing if I get to learn and play and have fun and playing against someone that I love playing against, you know? It's good. I need adults. Wake up the eye. Oh my god, you fuck. That is so scary. Oh, the pure fear. One more, no more, no more. No. Hey. No more, last one, no more. No more, last one. Oh, wow, that's great. What? I think that was lag. Larga 2. Crap. my leg's not long enough. Wait, something's wrong. Give me a second. Okay. Oh, good. Sorry about that. DP. Oh, I thought there was a cross-up. Where's my direct rush cancel? I'm gonna cry. I could have won there. I don't care. Oh! 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 Boom. I lived? Oh my god, don't do that! Don't do that! Oh! One more, last one, no more. Last one, 10 more, I swear. Last 15, keep it real. Last 20, honest, last 50. Haha, red just. One more. Adam, why are you playing on 6 frames of rollback? Because I'm from Malaysia and this dang give. Joe is from USA. And it's a miracle that the game still works. It's a damn miracle the game works on different continents. That's it. That is wild. The grab! I'm dead. I survived. World War II. Oh, I'm okay. I mean, I'm okay with legs like this just because most of the people that I play against, especially my viewer, they are like from somewhere that's not from Malaysia, which is kind of sad. And I'm in Malaysia. So it's really hard to find like matches in Malaysia in most fighting games, but Street Fighter 6 is like a little bit of an exception here. Huh. I recognize that they'll stop there. Woo! I jumped on all of them. Oh my god, frame zero. I was holding up, I was not doing anything. Frame 0, baby. Damn, that was hype as fuck. Okay, for real. Alright, this is for real now. Last one, okay? For real, last one. Like, thanks, Breen. Yeah, last one. Let's get that 40. Let's get the 40. You know, honestly, Joe, thanks for playing with me. Thanks for playing with me so much. Thank you. Oh! Oh! Churning the butter? I mean, yeah. Oh, I'll do it. Shimmy, shimmy. Oh, let's go. Oh my god.
Round 2. Fight.
Oh. Too far. Why? Why did I decide to challenge the button?
Why you bullying me?
Where's my level 3 super? I didn't block. God, how many level 3 super can I mess up, honestly? Last one, sure. For real this time, Legs. Oh! Wow. Oh my god, that's sick. That's so good. Oh my god. I got robbed. I got robbed. That was daylight robbery, man. Grab you. Okay, you know, as much as I don't want to stop here, I have to. Thanks, Breed. Breed, you are actually in low latency. What the fuck? Alright, thank you, Joe. I cannot play more. I need to get dinner. It's almost 8. Rob, but there's a couple job. Well, sometimes I don't know what Joe is. Thank you so much, Joe. Oh my god. I got bullied, but you know, actually I learned something. Ads. Sorry. Alright, let's check out all the reds. Look at that triangle red. Oh my god. Triangle red? Triangle red? Rising uppercut. Fat? No, it's not fat. It's living a good life. With a sleepy rat, look at that. God, this little guy right here is having such a good dream. Oh my god. What else red do we have? Oh my god, look at that. It's a wizard rat. That would terrify me. Oh god, dead? Oh, okay, sleep. You know what? True. That shit will actually scare me because this post looks like dead. I'm scared. Not even mention it, yeah. That is scary. I learned a lot thanks for the matches. No, thank you, Joe. Eyes full of hatred. Head red judges you one more. One more. No more. One more. No more. 10 more. 20 more. One more. No more. No more. No more. I cannot play more. I am actually hungry. Let him out. Let this little guy out. What do you mean? This guy craves freedom. Criminal. Oh, jail. Well, we have a jail rat apparently. Jail. The rat. Jail. This is absolutely adorable though, this one. Especially this one. Also, don't mind my PC is actually dying. Don't worry about it. Look at the rat. Oh my god. Where do you even find all these rat pictures? Rat. I've been blessed by rat. I've been blessed by heckin' green bean rat. Red connoisseur, how the fuck do you spell? Hey, okay, I'm not gonna look at the word. Connoisseur? That looks weird. Is that connoisseur? That's how we spell it. Connoisseur. Red connoisseur. That's how you spell the word. Alright, that's how you spell the word. Are you saying that's how you actually spell the word? Hello. And welcome. Connoisseur? Lizard at arms. Oh my god, lizard. I love lizards. I love lizards. Thank you. Welcome in. Oh wait, does this mean that I've hit 1,000? I am not ready for this. I am at 1,002. Oh my god. Oh my god, I'm gonna cry. Congrats. I don't know how to celebrate it. I'm not ready. Oh god. Thank you though. Appreciate it, Lizard at Arms. Thank you. Hope you're doing good. Welcome in. Congrats. Oh no. Oh no. You the pun has gone too far. Congrats. It's one white character. I know, right? Look at that. This is peak. This is peak. A peak physicality. Is that a word? Peak female form. I know, right?
Yep.
Who needs neck where it can be covered by the whole hoodie?
Yep, yep.
Right? Who needs neck? Oh my god! Oh my god! We're yipping. We're yipping. Congrats! Thank you, Lizard at Arms.
Emotional damage.
Thanks for the pet. It's the thought that counts. Since I don't have 3D on, so the pet doesn't work currently. Sorry. But yeah. God, I am not ready. I don't know what to do. No, breathe. That's gonna. I'm gonna close the game. I'm gonna close the game. I'm gonna close the game. Oh my god! Please don't destroy our PC. Wait a minute. Hey, all good. All good, all good. All good. All hunky-dory. Oh, do we have one more rat? Satu lagi bagi kita rat. Oh my god, this gonna shit on me.
Damage.
Oh, why is it so loud? Nemu tama-tama? Nemu tama-tama?
Morpha 3 cozy.
Morpha 3 cozy? Nice. Getting cozy, very important. Can I show this on stream, Breen? I clicked on it. I know it should be fine, but I don't know why I'm scared. Namu tama-tama. Okay, let's upload some music. Alright, let's upload some music. It's too quiet. I don't like it. My PC's dying. Don't worry about it. Yeah, okay. Oh, 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 oh. They're just vibing. Oh my. Oh, I'm gonna cry. It's so good. Right. Let me go here. I'm not gonna open up 3D, should I? No, I shouldn't. The cuteness is too much. Yeah. Let's listen to Menon. Oh my god. Menon. Excuse me. That's farting, not crying, Breen. We have one more. 2-week-old rats. Let's look at it. Oh. Wait, you guys need to see this. It's very small, but I can have it full screen here. Two weeks old rat? It's so small. Wait, why does it keep like? The eyes just opened? They keep like doing the hand to the face thing. This one. I don't know what it is, but that is adorable as fuck. Oh, cleaning. Oh, okay. That's their clean. God, yeah, that's adorable. Good rats. Follow. Worth. To cleanse my timeline. I mean, my timeline is always good. Every time I go to Twitter, it's all just like dragon, lizard, reptilian, some Pokemons, a lot of Japanese a lot of Japanese art in there and Japanese things in there as well. Some spicy ones. I'm not even gonna hide it. Yeah, it happens. So that's why I can already just show my Twitter willy-nilly. But yeah, every time I go to see dragon. Dragon. Oh, spicy. Nope. Oh, dragon. Yeah, see? There are people that complaining that Twitter is bad or some shit. It is. Right? It kinda is. It definitely is. Twitter is a shithole. But I tend to just ignore those things unless it sort of like affects me in some way. But yeah, usually I just go to Twitter, just look at art. I sort of just stop using Facebook altogether. Well, not altogether, but Facebook is a little more personal thing. But since I'm now more on Twitch, and since Facebook is limited to real life, and I don't think I can come out in Facebook, or else I will legit not live. Because Malaysia is not friendly towards LGBTQ plus things. So in Facebook, I'll be my most normal, quote unquote. I'll be normie on Facebook, but it's also part of the reason why I just stopped using Facebook altogether. So yeah, I'll be most active on Twitter, Discord, Telegram. Oh yeah, Telegram. Telegram has a lot of good stickers in there. Spice things up like cumin or paprika. Paprika? You mean like them fighting herds? Have a nice rest of the day. Thank you, Brecky. You too. Thanks for hanging around, all of you. Also, I know this isn't much, but it's all I can say for now. Thank you for helping me reach 1,000 followers. That is that is honestly not a number that I see myself reaching. But yeah, I somehow reached it, and I'm still like in disbelief. I mean, I'm just here playing games and sometimes too hard. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm having fun. And I hope you guys are having fun as well, you know? Don't mind the fart noises, it's just Opera GX. It's just Opera GX, it's fine. I downloaded the mod, oh my god. Excuse-moi? Merci beaucoup. Je... I've been pet. Thank you, Joe.
Mercy Goku.
Mercy Goku. Mercy Goku. Much fun. Yes, you're been. Oh my god, thank you. Oh yeah, I think I forgot to stretch the bone. Yeah. Bone has been stretched. Thank you, thank you. Let me see. I kind of want to rate Nita again. Although Nita is Japanese, but Nita speaks a little bit of English, and in Nita's chat, he has a translation bot. And Nita is a wonderful bear too. Brain. Don't fart at Nita. Oh, he's playing Fall Guys with his friends. Ooh. Oh my god, that red creek smile. Guys, the chat is being stinky. Oh my god. Chat is stinky. Stinky. And then the wow is so bombastically loud. I love it. Wow. Oh my god, Breen. Oh, only Gibby is the one that's gonna destroy my PC. I don't know why Gibby is the one that's gonna destroy my PC. Somehow Gibby causes lag for OBS. Remember, OG viewers, I don't know if you guys remember the lightning squinch. Remember lightning squinch? The one and only source that crashed my PC multiple times throughout my Twitch streaming years. It's insane. And only lightning squinch does that. It's like, okay, so when someone redeems lightning squinch, it does a Super Mario 64 card, I think, Mario Kart 64, I think. The lightning sound, right? And then my avatar will proceed to get compressed, right? So that somehow causes my PC to crash all the time. So yeah, I have to remove that. Because when someone redeemed it, they basically redeem stop the stream because it crashes my PC entirely. I have to hard reset my PC. Wild, right? Wild. When playing aliens, the confetti redeem makes my entire computer slow down. Oh, I'm so glad I didn't put the confetti. I know confetti will actually just destroy my PC if I do put it in. But yeah, there's only like throw redeems when I'm in 3D. Yeah, there's only throw redeems when I'm in 3D. And oh yeah, and moisturize actually does something, and the pad. That's pretty much it. I didn't have like a 2D pad, and I should work on the boop soon. Boop, I'm probably just gonna draw like a 2D image, make it an emote, so that you guys can just spam that shit. Just boop. The boop with boop boop. I'm just vibing to Manon's music. Manon.
I don't know. I mean, we can rate me. We can rate me. It's fine. Let's go. Oh my god. Enjoy your. I mean, your ears will not get bombarded, but it's just you're gonna hear some jank. It's fine. It's just some jank. It's okay. Don't worry about it. Red jam. Are we jamming to BB Boo Boo Mike? Sure. We jamming. So yeah, thanks again. I know you beat people who might, I don't know if you guys can hear me or some shit, but thanks again for 1,000 followers. Thank you.
Rad JAM, Rad JAM, Rad JAM, Rad JAM, Rad JAM.
Red jammin', we jammin'. So yeah, thank you. I have something that I'm trying to do. I don't know if it's gonna be as bombastic. I hope it does, but it is something special. Although not as special as me just streaming here, but I'll try my best. I'll try my best. I'll try to make it a bang. I'll try. I don't know if I can do it, but I'll try definitely. The premise is that I don't even know what to do yet. God, I'm terrible. I'm sorry. I'm just gonna summon Bernie and shit. Tomorrow I'll do art. Thanks, Breen. I love Malzino. Dude, let me just summon Bernie. Hey, Bernie, come here. Tell them.
I'm once again asking for your financial support.
Compatible? Okay. Thanks, Bernie. I have a coffee. Just saying. Alright. I would love to drink coffee. Coffee's great. And also I have my Discord and socials. My Discord, Dragon Sipping Corner and stuff right there. Oh my god.
Hey chat, did you know that in terms of kobold and dragon relations, Tylra is the most compatible kobold for dragons?
Thanks.
It's true. Look at this pretty girl we got. She has horns. Yeah. I mean, you can do a lot of things with those horns. I mean, they're long. It looks like they're kind of rounded on the tips, you know. You could do a lot of things with them, like handlebars when you take your dragon boyfriend on and off a motorcycle. Instead of holding your waist, they could hold your horns.
I'm not a motorcycle, excuse you.
Good bro.
Oh my god. appreciate. Oh my god. What else?
There's no Dragon for me to sim currently. But yeah, I do have a Dragon Sipping corner in my Discord channel. Oh, there we go. No more beep beep boop boom mic. Alright, socials. I have my YouTube there. Dying Bluebird app over there as well. And the throne. I mean, I didn't really update my throne there, but hey. If you guys want, you can take a look. I think I have 3 items there. One being the leap motion. Just ignore that. That one I just want to put it there. 3.
Bird.
Bird.
https://twitter.com/godroxenyt.
YT.
https://www.youtube.com/channel/uke7ztjmaj114-k3bx6w crown. throne.me/u/godroxen.
Thanks, Brain. That's a mega advertisement right there. I'm just gonna type in. I'm helping. You are. Is it Nita? Nita the bear, I think? Let me try. Oh, I think it's this name here. Yeah. So if I copy.
Interested to join the Forest Guardians homie home? Now you can do that by clicking the link right here. Dragon JAM https://discord.gg/h6bispu6f.
Oh, don't copy that one. I don't know why that one just shows up like that. Yeah, Nita is playing Fall Guys. I'm ready to raid. I'm gonna get some dinner. Getting hungry. I had fun today. I hope you guys had fun as well. Street Fighter 6, I will be playing a lot more in the future. Definitely loving it because not only is it fun, there's Salazzle in there. Definitely not biased, alright? Definitely not biased. Okay. Don't think it's I just love the game. Okay. So tomorrow I'll do some art. I'll try to finish the blend shapes for my model tomorrow. In case you guys want to know what I'm working on tomorrow, here's a little sneak peek of what I have.
You can support me directly with Ko-fi right here, https://ko-fi.com/godroxen.
Wow, thank you. So this is the model I have here. Tomorrow I'll be working on this, and yeah, I'll do the blend shapes. The shoot, I think I changed it. I think I kind of want to change the eye shape a little bit. I don't think I want to give her this diamond shaped eye. I think I need to change this one. So the eyes I'm going to change. And blend shapes is here. So I need to do this tomorrow. Ooh! Always good. And I still have armature here. I already have the bone. Everything should be working as intended for this one.
If you have Twitch Prime, you get 1 free subscription per month, which you can use on a kobold like this one at https://www.twitch.tv/godroxen.
Wow, yeah, did you know that you can subscribe with your Twitch Prime? One free, how do you say this? 1 free subscription with Twitch Prime, which you can subscribe to my channel. You can use it in twitch.tv/godroxen. Support this little kobold. Support this little kobold just being online and trying to talk shit on things. Okay, enough plug. Thanks for stream. Thanks for being here, Lex. Appreciate. Thank you all once again.
So Breenland.
So Breenland. Oh yeah, check out Breen as well. Best milk snake naga. Milk snake naga. Yeah. Good boat hours for sure. I also love how I transitioned from a forest guardian to a kobold. Notice the background? That is for my first ever character for myself. But I sort of just changed it because I feel like I vibe with kobold a lot more. So yeah. Have a good day. Thank you, Breen. So before the raid, I want to say thank you all so much for joining with me today. Why is it Doom? Really appreciate all of you. Right? Know that you guys are all loved, valid, and matter. Very, very valuable. Yep. Alright? My household one. I played it. I played through all of it. The archive is in YouTube. You can watch it if you want. I play Doom as well sometimes. Only sometimes. I've been playing Doom 1, trying to get through the die flesh consumed thing. So yeah. This girl I said, okay, I'll think about it. You can DM me over, then I'll think about it. At Discord or whatever you want to DM, it's fine. Alright. You guys are all valuable. Thanks again. Appreciate all of you. Here comes the raid to Nita the bear. Invalid username? Oh shit, sorry. What do you mean invalid username? There we go. Nita. Love y'all. Stay amazing. My brain has stopped working. All good. I don't know why. Sorry, the fart noise somehow caught me off guard. Raid shinies. Oh yeah, I forgot the raid. I mean, I know that Nita is not a dragon, but a bear should have some form of shiny, right? I'm using this one, it's fine. I enjoy Street Fighter 6, I really do. It's such a fun game. I want to play more Jury. I want to style on more people with my level 2 of Feng Shui combos. Bears definitely have stash of shinies. Right? I wasn't wrong. They could have shinies. Everyone has shinies. And if I see them bling bling, it's mine. It's ours. It's us kobolds. Okay, see you guys tomorrow. Be safe. Bye bye. Love y'all.